Live right here on this Monday on the early line on SportsGrid. One of the realities of any given week in the National Football League is how dangerous the game can be. So with the wins and the losses, we provide the injury analysis and insight with the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao, live right here on this Monday. Doc, as always, we appreciate the time. Thanks for being here on the early line.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Unfortunately, in the collision, not contact sport, but the collision sport of football, injuries are inevitable.
Yeah, so Dr. Chow, let's start with what happened yesterday in Dallas. Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions, despite a monumental Detroit victory, is likely out for the rest of this season. A broken tibia on a gruesome and significant lower leg injury. Doc, of course, his season has come to a close, but we want that insight. What is the recovery process like for the promising young edge rusher for Detroit?
Yeah, and for those who love graphic stuff, otherwise don't look at my Twitter handle, Pro Football Doc. There's some slow down, zoomed in video. Literally, his lower leg wraps around a teammate's lower leg. It literally bends like it's rubber. And not only is his tibia broken, the fibula is broken too. Why do the Lions just talk about the tibia? Because that's the bigger bone, and that's the only one that needed the urgent emergent surgery with a rod. The fibula, the associated bone, will heal on its own. So it is a tibia and fibula fracture. That's why he had surgery, unstable fracture before he even flew home. And the good news, and I always try and focus on good news, as you guys know, is this is not an Alex Smith injury. This is not an open wound or a compound fracture. This should not get infected. He will come back full go, unlike Alex Smith, who was a little bit of a shell of himself because of the nature of the injury. That was a plating surgery. That was a dirt or sock in the wound. This is not that. Early surgery. Expect full recovery in 2025, but for the season 2025, I'm hearing chatter about Super Bowl if he can get there. Look, I don't want to douse anyone's dreams. I mean, a lot of people go to the convenience store and try and win the lottery, but not many do. And let's just hope for the good, clean recovery. Even if his bone were healed, he's not going to be in shape to play and be at Aiden Hutchinson. No way, no how. But let's take solace in that he'll be fine for next season.
Always a tough injury there, and you saw both teams come out basically at midfield here. Such a great football player, devastating injury for the Lions. We certainly wish him well. But if we're going to get back to some of the football players here, Doc, but let's take a look at a head coaching issue yesterday. Jim Harbaugh, atrial flutter. Number one, what causes that, Doc? What's the treatment? And is he okay at this point?
First of all, full disclosure, I love Jim Harbaugh. I knew him from his playing days, occasionally texted him here's that, the other. I have not talked to him about this injury. But based on what it was, look, it's scary. How often do you see a head coach walk off the sideline in the middle of the game with medical personnel? And then they say it's cardiac in nature. Once again, let's talk about the good news. This was not a myocardial infarction. This was not a heart attack. Atrial flutter is an arrhythmia, and anything that involves the heart is indeed scary. But this is not an Urban Meyer, he's got to retire from football stress type situation. It's an arrhythmia that he admitted to that he's been dealing with before, and even said he's, quote, 2-0. He's been dealt with it before. It's to the atrium, not the ventricle. He wasn't in any danger. He probably felt his heart racing some or a little irregular heartbeat, which is disconcerting, and you got it checked out with EKG. There's medications, there's other treatments, there's other non-surgical treatments. I don't see this changing his pattern at all, which is the good news, I would believe. And as Jim always says, who's got it better than us or him and whatever, he's going to continue to flourish. The Chargers got a good win. But most importantly, I wouldn't worry about this too much. Of course, they'll treat him and have caution, but this is not an oh my gosh situation where he's got to quit football or really take care of himself or family. Don't see it as life-threatening or endangering in any way.
The Bolts, a big win in Denver yesterday. Jim Harbaugh did, in fact, return to the sideline, and that is just classic Jim Harbaugh, claiming it is 2-0, his winning record, dealing with his heart issues. Dr. Chow, as we look around the NFL, last night on Sunday Night Football, no Malik Neighbors once again for the New York Giants. Earlier in the day, two young, promising wide receivers, Chris Olave for New Orleans, Marvin Harrison Jr. for Arizona, exited games early with concussions. I always think it's worth a reminder here as we get deeper into the NFL season. What exactly is the concussion protocol? What does it take to return to game action?
Well, let's break some news here on the morning line here, the early line. Chris Olave is not playing in his next game. They play on Thursday against Denver. A, very short week. B, this is his fourth documented concussion, if you count college. He had one last year as well. They're going to exercise some caution here. There's no way to rush him through for Thursday, and that's what's best for him. On the other side, Patrick Surtain, who's probably covering him on Thursday, is unlikely to play either with his concussion with the Broncos. Marvin Harrison Jr., we don't see previous injury with concussion. We'll have to let that play out. But we knew he was ruled out. Once he stumbled on the field, that's a sign or symptom, and he needed to be ruled out and was.
Doc, by the way, checking out SixScore.com for tonight's action to field you. I need some intel help here. The Buffalo Bills banged up at running back with James Cook and wide receiver with Khalil Shakir. What do we anticipate from both of those players tonight?
Well, the good news is Josh Allen, there was a lot of worry about concussion, and that hasn't surfaced publicly at least, so he seems to go. So at least that's good news. Shakir missed the previous week with a high ankle. I think he probably misses again. Cook may try and play through, but he's not as effective. And the line, I see the line creeping a little bit the other way here because of it, towards the Jets. Of course, the head coaching situation for New York. But the Jets, the big question mark is C.J. Mosley. Will he finally play through his turf toe? Otherwise, the Jets overall are fairly healthy.
You saw the field views there. You can see them again at SICScore.com as well. The great analysis to get you set for any individual matchup in the NFL. The Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao. We appreciate the time, Doc, as always, on this Monday.
Thank you very much.